When I'm photographing, I see life. That's what I deal with. I don't have pictures in my head. I frame in terms of what I want to include, and naturally when I want to snap the shutter. And I don't worry about how the picture's going to look. I let that take care of itself. You know, and we know too much about how pictures look and should look. And how do you get around making those pictures again and again? And it's one modus operandi to frame in terms of what you want to have in the picture, not about how making a nice picture. That anybody can do.
I'm very subjective in what I photograph. When things move, I get interested. I know that much. Women interest me. They're, you know, basically how they look, and I mean, certainly how they look and how they move. Their energy.
It's sort of like photographing theater. You know, that guy in the car sitting on the back seat waving at the crowd. To make a photograph more theatrical than the subject's own theatricality is a hell of a problem.
Let's say a picture is about what's photographed and how that exists in the photograph. So that's what we're talking about. What can happen in a frame? Because photographing something changes it. It's interesting. I don't have to have any storytelling responsibility to what I'm photographing. I have a responsibility to describe well. The fact that photographs, they're mute. They don't have any narrative ability at all. You know what something looked like, but you don't know what's happening. You don't know whether, like this, is the hat being just held? Is it being put on her head or taken off her head? From the photograph, you don't know that. A piece of time and space is well described, but not what is happening. I think there isn't a photograph in the world that has any narrative ability, any of them. They do not tell stories. They show you what something looks like to a camera. You know, the minute you relate this thing to what was photographed, it's a lie. It's two-dimensional. It's the illusion of a literal description. The thing has to be complete in the frame. Whether you have that information, the narrative of information or not, it has to be complete in the frame. It's a picture problem. It's part of what makes things interesting.
Two areas of the country have always fascinated me to photograph. One was Texas, and one is Southern California. I don't understand. It just fascinates me, you know. Show business and the oil. I mean, it's improbable.
It's funny.
What's happening?
I'm surviving. You know. You see the Georgia Klinger? When there's direct sun on it, the whole thing becomes like a giant jewel. And depending on which cars are parked in front, open convertibles or whatever, it's almost like a pat answer to how to illustrate the idea of this place. To make that work, beyond just being an illustration of an idea, it's, for me, an interesting problem. I've learned a long time ago to trust my instincts, you see?
When I'm photographing, I want to, if I'm in a viewfinder and I know the picture, I know that picture, why take it? I'll do something to change it, which is often a reason why I may tilt the camera or fool around in various ways. You don't learn anything from repeating what you know, in effect. So I keep trying to make it uncertain. What I found out over photographing a long time, the more I do, the more I do. When you're younger, you can only conceive of trying a limited amount of things to work with. And the more I work, the more subject matter I can begin to try to deal with. So the more I do, it's nuts. The nature of the photographic process is, it is about failure. Most everything I do doesn't quite make it.
The failures can be intelligent. They're not necessarily stupid, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. I mean, hopefully you're risking failing every time you make a frame. I've been in Los Angeles now a little over 2 years. This stuff is slightly under 2,000 rolls, which is what I've developed since I'm here. And I have over 2,000 to go. I got a show coming up in April. And I decided to make contacts from the film I've developed so far that I took in Venice and on Rodeo Drive. So that's what I'm going to deal with, you know what I mean? There's no real system. You know, it's going to be pretty rough when I got to find a negative. I mean, a joke even. No, just put this down, put it down. That's the thing to do. I'll move that way, shortly.
The new switch right there. In my father's house, there are many mansions. If it wasn't so, I wouldn't have told you.
I get into situations where there's a lot of activity. More things can occur to me to try under those circumstances. Really, that's what it's about. You know, it always fascinates me. Well, it boggles my mind. I mean, when people talk about photographs and depth and whatnot, you know, when all a photograph ever does is describe light on surface. That's all there is, and that's all we ever know about anybody. You know what we see. I mean, I think we are our faces and whatever. You know, that's all there is light on surface. It's funny, like these two frames. Here, you don't need a magnifier. I don't know how to help. Like these two, I know I'm gonna want to see those, one of those, if not.
How much of what you see now affects, you know, what you do afterwards?
Oh, wait a minute. I mean, it affects my shooting?
Mm-hmm.
You know what happens? I mean, I'm looking at some of these frames and I'm thinking, I got to get myself a little more under control now, and that's all, you know.
Well, there's a lot of things that you know are not going to be good, or certainly not great pictures, but they might be interesting to you. And I think as much as the final picture is going to be interesting, the process of taking that picture at that point in time is equally interesting.
Sure. I mean, you can only do one thing at a time, but it's not just the act itself. It's what I'm photographing. It's the subject. I think I'm interested in how a lot of things look. From shooting to seeing the contacts to seeing an enlargement, which is again different than seeing a contact. It should be an adventure in seeing. You haven't sold them yet. Sure. Good luck. They're waiting on line to get up here so they shouldn't run out. I am surprised that my prints sell, but they're not pretty. You know, they're not those kind of pictures that people easily put on their walls. They're not that window onto a nice landscape or something. They aren't. I keep my eye. No, I don't have pictures in my head. You know, I am stuck with my own psychology, with my own, with me. So I'm sure that there's some kind of thread, you know, whatever. But I don't have pictures in my head, you know.
When you moved to Texas, did it take you a while to kind of get your legs, kind of get oriented?
No, I mean, Once I start working right away. I know that.
You shoot every day?
Yeah, sure. Damn near, yeah. Well said, though. During the day, at least. I don't lay myself down on the couch, to figure out why I'm a photographer and not a this or that. Whatever it is, I can't seem to do enough of it. It's a pleasure.